Good morning, everyone. Hope you all had a great Taco Tuesday. We did not have a show yesterday because I had a busy day doing a little rehab work. So welcome, happy Wednesday to you. Let's get to our screens. Mornings with Michael is brought to you for information and educational purposes only. It is your responsibility to do your own due diligence, and our word of the day is prepense. Prepense, let me just bring it up so we can see it. Prepense, deliberate or intentional. The bird seemed to swoop down at my cat with prepense hostility. So there we go. Let us go to our heat map. Our heat map is right here. What is hot, what is not. NVIDIA is down a little over 3%. All the semiconductors are down today. Apple is down. Google is up slightly. Meta is down slightly. Amazon's up slightly. The financials are up. Tesla got a downgrade. Analyst downgrade, so it's down close to 3%. Oil has popped. As soon as I have taken off half of my trade, then oil moves up. Of course, that's the way it always works. But if we're interested, we could always put it back on. But I'm glad we kept half. We didn't close it all. So it's always, you can always take off some. And McDonald's is down 3.24%. So there we go. That's our look at the S&P 500 heat map. I'm not sure if it was a hedge fund manager or analyst. He's still confirming that he's predicting the S&P 500 will go down 15%. So that's something to keep an eye out. And what do you do if something goes down 15%? Well, here's something that you put in your bag of tricks that you don't worry if something goes down because you're not going to lose any money. Currently, some of these the indexes roll up and down with stocks, and this will jump up again with allows you to still be in the market without any market risks. This is through index options, and the average annual growth beats index investing by about 5%. If you want to learn more about that, please contact me. So that's story there. Let's go to our screens. Duolingo is pulling back a little bit. First, let's take a look at our dollar index. It was up a couple of days ago, and now it's pulling back again. Silver. Wow, look at that move in silver. That is a pretty strong move. We'll kind of see what the volume is, but that kind of looks like a pocket pivot, in fact. Here was definitely one. Pocket pivots. We're going to go more in our education, but down volume right before, high volume right here. So that's a pocket pivot kind of signaling that there's institutional buying. And look at the move it's made since that initial pocket pivot. Usually what happens, And let's take a look at gold. Gold is up slightly. Look at this move. Once again, full volume. And then right on this day, strong volume on that pocket pivot. And it's moved up ever since. Arrow, our copper company, big move today. We'll see later if this is a pocket pivot, but right over here, definitely a pocket pivot. Lower volume right here, and boom, takes off, pulls back a little bit, but it is signaling institutional investors' demand. So here we go. Let's go into Southern Copper. Look at that move. Wow, that's incredible. Report McMoran is marching right in step to Southern Copper. There is definitely a move in copper today. Vale got a little bit of a boost and now has kind of lost all of that boost. BHP in Australia, that's moving up. And let's finally is Rio. Look at our cryptocurrencies. Buying in Bitcoin seems to be strong. It had a little bit of a sell-off here, filled the gap. And look at this, these ants on top. This means institutional buying. Can't always go by that, as I said before, because institutional buying have sometimes bought at tops as well. So there we have it. Take a look at Ethereum, a little bit of a pullback in Ethereum, which is healthy, pulling back to its 10-day moving average. See if it goes any lower. Just kind of watching this for bounce and maybe adding to the Ethereum in a couple of our family accounts. And MicroStrategy. Look at this big pullback. They did pretty much the same as Bitcoin, filled the gap, and now institutional buying, and now it's on to all-time highs, 1740. Remember, we talked about this right before their earnings, said about 10 shares at 493, and I was buying two options, one with a spread, did the 495, 510, and then like a day later, I think it was at 550. So we took that off and we let the other one roll into buying the shares. So 495 to 1740. If you want, you can get out your calculators to figure out what kind of return that is. I did put on a put option, a couple of put options for insurance over here. I'm just going to keep those on just in case there's any pullback. But that's the story there. Let's go to our bond yields. I think we got a bounce. There's a little bit of an inflation worry. Yeah, we got a bounce yesterday and it's up again today. Looks like we got a gap up. The 10-year Treasury auction was having trouble. There wasn't a lot of interest in the 10-year Treasury, even though the yields had increased. So that's something to consider because they may have to increase the yields even more just to attract buyers if that continues. On to the 20-year. 20-year, we got, looks like we got a couple of gaps in a row. Up 1.27 at 3.34. Look at the volatility or VIX index. Did it fill this other gap?
not quite. 1301 we need to fill. Looks like we may have filled one of the gaps, but so we got a gap over here at 1301. And we got a gap here. Looks like 1352. So we got those two gaps to fill. This is an oscillating index. 99.95% of the time it fills the gaps. And on the reverse side of the VIX is the S&P 500. Had a strong move up yesterday, is pulling back slightly today. Not much to really talk about. Volume was about average. RSP, the equal weight of the S&P 500, is up 0.25%. It's just going to see, somebody was sending me a note here. See what it says. Guess it's just what they're currently holding on to. And Duquesne, which is one of the largest hedge funds run by Stanley Druckenmiller. One of his, the second biggest holdings in their fund is this Korean company that is similar, I think, to Amazon. So the Amazon for their country. Nice big consolidation, a little handle, and it's popping up here. Had pretty good volume yesterday. So back to our index. We get the NASDAQ, slight little pullback. And pullback over here as well. Take a look at the Russell. One of the leading market technical people was talking about on the time to buy the Russell as on weakness. And this is a triple rated Russell index. Moves 3 times the amount that Russell does, but the weakness of this, if it doesn't really move, or if it stays steady, you're going to lose money because they have to recalibrate this on a daily basis. So that there's a large cost of calibrating or buying back this issue every day. So that's the story there. Dow Jones Industrial Average up slightly today, up 0.39%. Take a look at our trending ETFs. Financials continue to perform well. Wells Fargo. Somebody knew something about the news, popped out, and then, so I would definitely, this is definitely a pocket pivot of great magnitude. Look at this, no volume, and then the volume on this day. We'll pull back 2 days. Not sure if that's a follow-on pocket pivot, but strong move. And then look at all of this. There's only 1, 2, 3 days on this up move out of all these other days that there wasn't continue up. So it has a, I think it had a 12-month target of $60 and it's almost there. Here's on to energy. Energy gets a gap up today. Oil prices got a gap up. It's on its low for the day. And then we can see our triple rated we're in. It's back in the money slightly. So moving on, XLC Communications, pretty flat, Google up, Meta down, real estate, trying to hold in there with the bond yields moving up, utilities, looks like they had a gap up and then selling off a little bit now, but it's up nearly 1%. Biotech up slightly. Both of them are up slightly. So yeah, here's a financial services. Where did I am? Hitting one of my ticker symbols. And here's the technology section, down slightly. Software is down slightly. ServiceNow, kind of holding in this type pattern. We had a fall on down to the 50-day moving average and it bounced, and now it's come back to the 50-day again, and it looks like it's bouncing. So seems like the $800 level is kind of iffy at the moment. HubSpot kind of holding up. Had this big cup and then a handle, and then got into the blue zone here. We have our infrastructure. Just continues to kind of soar. We'll have a sell-off in semiconductors as we saw over in the S&P 500 heat map, pulling back to its 10-day moving average. Airlines got a little bit of a pop there. Looks like it's trying to fill the gap. Out of the office seems to be doing well. Looks like Royal Caribbean popped up. What do we got here? Looks like a pocket pivot over here. Once again, low volume, followed by large volume and a big pop up. Take a look at a couple more. Norwegian Cruise Lines. A slight pullback under 20, and now it's trying to get back up there. And Carnival had a nice move today. Up 3.76% onto industrials. Kind of a nice move there. John Deere, Caterpillar. That nice move. Pull back to the 10-day moving average. Now it's bouncing. United Rentals. It's not much of a move there, but those are three of the leaders. Consumer staples up slightly. Building materials. Wow, look at that move. That is a pretty strong move. Got Lowe's. Slight pullback. Home Depot. Wow, that's a pretty nice move. On to our metals and mining. would have thought it would be a little stronger move after looking at gold, silver, and copper, but here we go. Maybe the steel is holding it back. Home builders. Wow. Pretty nice move in home builders. This is a new index, kind of look at how the momentum kind of trades are going. Just look at this move. Pull back to the 10-day and pop up above the, pull back to the 20-day, I should say, and pop above the 10. Looks like it remains pretty strong. And finally, Fang Yu. Looks like it's pulling back a little bit to the 20-day moving average. So this has really outshone the S&P, the NASDAQ. Of course, it is 3 times the FANG index. So there we have that look. Let's go to the news. You got in world news, Washington, D.C. today, the U.S. House of Representatives plans to vote on a bill that would give TikTok Chinese owner ByteDance about 6 months to divest of the U.S. assets of a short video app used by about 170 million Americans who face a ban. I believe it was I need to find that company, but there was a company rumored to be trying to buy them. Let's see if I can find that news quickly. They had a big jump yesterday in their stock price based on that rumor. I think it, let's see if I can find it here. It looks like it's not listed, but we'll get back to that a little later. Oh, I think it's the wrong letter in the beginning. It's Rumble. Yeah, we got a big move here and a big move here based on that rumor that they're trying to buy ByteDance. So we'll see how that plays out. They had some other news as well, but they're trying to compete with Facebook and some of their technology. So Bank of Japan will debate ending its negative interest rate policy next week if Friday's preliminary survey of the big firms' wage talks outcome yields strong results, according to Reuters. UK gross domestic product grew by 0.2% month on month, boosted by a rebound in retailing and home building. On to our company news. Adidas posted its first annual loss in more than 30 years and warned sales in North America could fall again. I guess I have too many letters there. So US battle high inventories and said sales in North America fell 21% in the fourth quarter. And look at that. Their earnings came out. They lost $1.30 and it must have been great. And some people are expecting because it's rising. It's amazing. All birds Yeah, I had somebody met with somebody the other day in San Ramon who was telling me about Allbirds, and they have a Q4 EPS loss, 37 cents versus estimate of 23. Yeah, they're down about 20%. They are now in penny stock territory. Onto Skin, Q4 EPS loss, 7 cents, in line with consensus revenues. They gap up. They're up 27% on that news. Beauty, this is Beauty Health. On to Dollar Tree, Q4 adjusted EPS $2.55 versus estimate of $2.65, and they are gapping down big time. Earnings came in at 25% increase, and I guess it was less than what people expected, as we can see on the what the expectations were. Purple, big winner in 2020, Q4 adjusted EPS loss 15 cents versus estimate loss of 18 cents, pulling back pretty strong. Fell below its 20-day, and now it's bouncing a little bit. Your 15% loss. Entered into a settlement agreement with Tempur Sealy International. How they reacted to reaffirm patent trademark rights, the proprietary hyperelastic polymer gel material. And Tempur Sealy is gapping up. They're on their high, up close to 3% for the day. Tesla downgraded to underweight from equal weight. Wells Fargo and slash target to 125 from 200. Wow, that's a ways to fall. It's up to you if you think it would be interesting to put on a put spread. Put spread might be a safe way to see if you can make some money on that, but you need to evaluate that with your own due diligence. MP Material downgraded to equal weight at Morgan Stanley and cuts price target to $15.50 from $26. MP Materials down 2.53%. Maybe this is why the XME index wasn't stronger than it was. Nucor upgraded to buy from neutral at Citigroup. One falling, one rising in the XME section. Financials. Coinbase announces proposed private offering.
In your notes, 30. There we go with coin. Hope everybody can hear me all right. Seems like the microphone, I'm not sure if it's a cord, but it's going in and out. There we see even with the notes offering, Coinbase is rising. Loan Depot, I believe this is 2020 IPO, Q4 EPS loss 16 cents versus estimate of 7 cents. And big miss, so they're down 7%. They were down a lot more earlier. Not sure who is coming in to buy these. Maybe somebody thinks there's going to be a turnaround. Amazon Pharmacy, which has sold prescription medicines online since 2020, will now handle some of the home delivery and anti-obesity therapy and other drugs for Eli Lilly. And Eli Lilly is up slightly. And I believe Amazon is up slightly as well, close to 1%. Clover Health, Q4 adjusted EBITDA loss 19.1 million versus 80 million on revenues of 510.3 0 million versus estimate of 480.25. And that's penny stock is up 6%. GE Healthcare announces offering of 13 million shares of common stock for holders and is gapping down on this news about a little over 3%. Intel, Pentagon scraps plan to spend 2.5 billion on Intel defense grant, and they are losing about 3.6%. And then Super Micro, price target was raised to $1,280 from $1,040 at Bank of America, and it is moving up slightly on this news, but pretty low volume. So that is a look around there. Let's now take a look at our morning routine. There's companies that are moving. Square, which we said we put on 2 days ago on this pocket pivot. Put that on and it continues to do well. We had it right over here and it gapped up and then it undercut the gap, so we sold it. It's our rule that anything that undercuts the gap, we sell. But with this move, it got right back into the gap area, so we decided to put it back on, and it is working out for us. Pocket pivots are a big key. And let's go to Williams-Sonoma. Look at that move on Williams-Sonoma. It's not earnings related, but that is a huge move. We could look, open the box here, see if we got any news. Don't really see any company specific news. Have to look into that a little later. Dick's Sporting Goods moving up. Pretty good move up here. It is in the sell zone if you bought it around the breakout. On holding, was down big on its earnings, but look at this rally. That's I think what you call a pink rally day. Huge volume. And then today is just a continuation. So we had, I believe in one of the family accounts, 7 options. We sold 4 of them right before earnings. And we had 3 left, and we were thinking about selling them, but on yesterday's move, we decided to hold 1 more day, and it is paying off for us. Now we're back in the money there. So that is good. This was a 2750 option that we bought, I believe, right over here on this day, on the big move up. So that is that. And now let's go to what's up, 5%, 100% increase in volume. Arhaus operates omni-channel retailer for 81 showrooms. Just continues up. It's pretty well extended. Wouldn't recommend anybody buying there. Belgian ADR gapping up. Pretty strong volume. Arrow Copper. We talked about that earlier. This looks like a follow-on pocket pivot. On good moves, you have continuation pocket pivots. Continue to show you that institutional money continues to flow in. EverQuote, pretty strong move after a big move. Look at all this buying here. This is a strong mention. Then the earnings come in and a little bit of a slowdown here, and then boom, it's back in buy territory. We're not going to go through all 21 items. Oh, I guess it's pulled back to 18 now. Originally it was 21 a few minutes ago. Freeport McMoran we showed a big move there. HUTCHMED is a Chinese developer of drugs, 2 gap ups in a row. Massive volume today, largest volume since the base. KB Financial, wow, look at that move. South Korean bank. We've talked about this before. We're looking at this over here, this huge gap up, another huge gap up, gap down, gap up, another gap up. Look at all these ants crawling, institutional buying, pull back, gap up. This is just all over the place. That's one reason I decided not to invest in it. It's too many gaps, kind of erratic, but kudos to anybody who's invested in that, who can tolerate that type of volatility. Excuse me. MoneyLion, digital platform deliver mobile banking. Look at all this buying in here. Pretty strong. Nice cup formation. Not a handle who would need it to pull back a few more days, but it's up 10% today. Minusio, Chinese company we profiled in the past, has a double bottom here. 23.30 would be the buy point over here, but there is a more aggressive buy point, and it is clearing that right now. So it's up about 8%. Nature Sunshine, nice gap up. Earnings up 350%. Cosmetics, personal care. Let me see what else is in this list. We got On Holding we looked at. PBF Energy, refining oil stock. Tech Resources, which is a Canadian miner. Big move up today. That's definitely a pocket pivot. It's some big volume over here. Look at these big volume days kind of giving a barometer, but where would have been the place to buy? Would have been at $41, right about over here. And that's the story there. So moving on, let's go. What's up? 10% and 200% increase in volume. Williams Sonoma and another Chinese company. Chinese stocks looks like they have bottomed, and as you can see, based on today's information, there's a number of them moving. This is up 22%. Data-driven tech platform helping financial institutions or products for customers. 1798 would have been in the buy, and it has clearly cleared that. So that's a look there. So what is happening? Let me take a look. This was a company that we added. Shockwave has been a prior leader, develops and commercializes products to transform the way calcified cardiovascular disease is treated. See if we can go back and just see Look at this big rise here. We may have to go back to the monthly to get the true perspective. Look at this increase. Rules are it must have a prior uptrend of at least 30%, and that definitely qualifies. This is what we call bottoming base. This one right over here would have been a pocket pivot. Over here, look at this lower volume right over here. Let's see, why is that not letting? There we go. Lower volume. We got one day. We just kind of throw that out, do it on the range, and then this is our pocket pivot. What happens after that? Well, it just keeps trending. That was kind of our warning or alert that institutional people were coming in. And then we got a big gap up here. I guess this would be a continuation pocket pivot. Once again, low volume. Jump in volume right here. So actually, this is the pocket pivot day kind of warning, bouncing off the 200-day moving average. And then it comes down again. We just kind of wish we had an alert on this, but definitely a pocket pivot yesterday where we added it, and it just continues up today. So that's a story on Shockwave. We did probably gave up too soon, but I guess I just didn't like the earnings on these two. Bought it over after seeing this pocket pivot over here, decided to added it over here, a little bit of a pullback, so got out of it here. And then the other one was Bud. InBev. We bought over here and then sold yesterday, made a slight profit, and then kind of missed this move here. So that's the story with those two. We added to Amazon yesterday. On this move up. So we added on that one. And let's just see how the rest are performing. Kava tried to move higher today. Was up to 67.56 and then it sold off. But it's come up to the green zone. We bought several times. Initially 31. We sold 46 something here. And then on the pullback, we added at 46. And then we sold at 49. And then we bought again at 49. The options 49 up to 65. So Kava has been ringing the cash register several times for us. ELF. It's kind of in this consolidation. It's had a huge move up here, so pulled back to the 20-day moving average. It bounced yesterday. Now it's kind of holding at the 10-day. We did add when pulled back to like at 194. We had sold 100 shares at 208, and we put them back on at 194 for the pull back to the 20-day moving average. We looked at MicroStrategy, Meta, pull back here to 484. we had sold at 500, bought back at 484 over here, bounced yesterday to 500, and now pulling back to the 10-day moving average. Take a look at this Canadian miner, DNN. Originally bought it at 179. And then we sold it at 2. Kind of bounced around here, pulled back, and maybe paid a little bit too much, 194. And pulled, I guess it was right around this day. And it's pulled back and it's bouncing, but it does have a 12-month target of 350. We originally bought this at 85 cents way back in the day. So we've traded this a few times. Look at Lyft. Right before earnings, we bought the 1350 options. Unfortunately, we closed a few, I guess just for precaution, in case it didn't hit the earnings, as it was down to 11.49. But we did keep 4 of them. Bounce on the big move up. We sold 2 of them, so we have enough cash to buy 200 more shares, and been bouncing around ever since. Bought those 200 shares, so we have 600 shares of Lyft in our smaller Roth IRA account. So we have DNN, Lyft, Bitto, right about here, and it's got the big move, and it just continues to perform well. And then we had gotten out of most of Greystone's Bitcoin, and it had the big crash, but we decided to keep 100 shares just so it would force us to keep our eye on it. I guess we should have bought back here, but we just never added. We're just holding on to it. And you can see the ants way back here. That was in in October. And it just keeps moving. And now when we get up to the top, more ants are institutional buying is happening. You can just see all these blue bars over here. On the red bars, there was high volume, but it didn't really move too much. Pulled back to right near the 50-day moving average, and then has bounced ever since. Hasn't really violated in this move the 50-day moving average, and it's most of the time it's just been kind of riding the 10-day, all the way up. Pull back here, and just bounced off of it. Pull back here, and then the next day it gaps up. So that is that. Let me just see if there's anything else I want to just kind of highlight here. Yeah, CrowdStrike. Just show CrowdStrike had a big move down here, bounced off the 50-day moving average. Like I said earlier in the week, CrowdStrike has always been difficult to buy because it really doesn't have a good base. I bought the $155 option. I got shaken out when it came down to 140 and didn't set an alert. Didn't buy it, so I bought Zscaler at 177 and made some profit. But this is clearly the leader in cyber tech security. And so we bought a few of the options. all across our accounts at 330. The highest estimate is from Wells Fargo at 12-month target of 435. So it is now in the money. We bought the 330 when it was, I believe, was at 320. So it is in the money slightly right now. We'll just kind of see how this goes. We're going to talk more about Nicholas Darvis's box formation. I just got his book back again and kind of going through it. But this is, the quick explanation of his box formation. All stocks have a box area that they trade within. And as long as it stays in that box, when it pops out of the box, that's when you should buy. So we're just kind of waiting. It needs to go a minimum of 5 weeks. And it looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks now in this area. So we'll continue to watch that. One of our losers that we still have options on. I believe we have the 110 options. And you can see it's right within this box. I believe it's a 134 12-month target on this one. So we'll see if there becomes any move there. In Zscaler, which had a lousy, they actually had a pretty good earnings report, but a lousy reaction to it. It's still trading pretty tightly right around 200. Their 12-month target, I believe, is 260. So we'll continue to watch that one. And we had this Indy number of options at $5 on Indy. When it was above 7, we took half of them off yesterday. We're just letting the other half kind of roll. Monday, got a little bit of a pullback today. It's pretty volatile. We have the 220, 230 spread option on this. So we'll just see where this kind of moves. Square continues to perform well, like we highlighted earlier. We have a small position in this home builder IPO. We bought this right in this area around 27. GLSI, as we profiled earlier, we looked at this last August, right around 8, really did nothing for a long time. And now news has gotten out that the CEO and CFO have started to buy in the stock. So it kind of broke out here, pulled way back to 8 again, and they continue buying. So, and then they've made some relationships in Europe with some of their products. So it's kind of bouncing here. We noticed it last Thursday. We took a position, I think, around 1550 in a couple of our accounts, pulled back to 15, and then it's bounced. So it's pretty volatile right now, but it has a 12-month target of $38. So we're in the money and we'll continue holding that. Our position in Twilio, another option, spread option. We got the, let me just check what spread we have on. We have, looks like the 59.65 spread. So it continues to perform well. Had kind of a sloppy move. The big volume, we like to see these tighten up, and this is really nice here. It's really starting to tighten up here. This is a sign of institutional support. So that's pretty good there. App is a core holding. We bought them their $45 option right before, a couple weeks before earnings. It popped on the news, and we'll convert those options shortly. And Nvidia is pulling back. I think we showed this earlier. Went up above 900 and is pulling back here, pulled back to the 10-day moving average. So the only time during this run after the breakout in January, this pullback to the 20-day moving average was right before earnings, and now it's kind of riding the 10-day. Another core holding in the portfolio, Celsius. We bought a couple of the options. First was 57. So we divided it in two. We had 8 options, 57 to 61, I believe it was. And 4 of the shorts we took off, and the other half we rolled from 62 to 67. So we have converted the 57s into shares, and now the 67 we're going to convert into shares here on Friday. Super microcomputer. On the pullback here, we watched it, and once it bounced, we put on the 725 option, and it continues to perform pretty well. And that's a look at what we're currently trading. This has been Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. Go out there and continue to work on your goals and your activities. If we can help you with any of your financial goals, please let us know. We're glad that you checked in with us, and we'll have some more educational news coming up tomorrow. Have a great day.